Welcome back to Go Figure. Today we're on lesson 94 of Pre-Algebra, Combining Like Terms, Part 1. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Our learning objectives today are to identify terms in an algebraic expression and then to combine like terms. So what are terms? Well, terms in an algebraic expression are separated by plus signs and minus signs. They may contain a variable, and terms that do not have a variable are called a constant. So just like a number by itself is a constant because it never changes. So here's an example of an algebraic expression, and this one happens to have, if we count these terms, I'll circle each one. There's one. And remember, they're separated by plus and minus signs. So I'm going to circle that negative in that one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms in this expression. And notice how some of them have a variable with them, and with a coefficient and a variable, and some of them do not have a variable. Those are our constants. They're -2 and 6. Now for combining like terms, so here's the same expression that we had earlier. Combining like terms means that you can add together terms that have the same variable in them. So like here we have 8y and -2y, and I say -2y even though that's minus 2y, just because when we're combining our like terms, we need to always capture that sign that comes right before the term. So, and then 3x, see how that has an x, and this x right here are going to be like terms because they have the same variable attached to them. And then of course our -2 is a constant and our 6 is a constant. So those are like terms because they're both constants. They do not have a variable attached to them. And so here we rearranged these in another order so that we could see the like terms near each other. So like I'll put parentheses around this just so you can see this. I rearranged these terms because we can add in any order. 8y minus 2y, and then we have our 3x plus x right there, and then the last two terms, the -2 and plus 6. And so we can combine these by adding them. So here we have 8y minus 2y. Another way to say that is 8y plus a -2y. So 8 minus 2 is 6. So then we're just left with 6y. And then we have combine these two, 3x plus x. And remember, if there's no coefficient in front of your variable, that coefficient is actually 1. So this is like saying 3x plus 1x. So that's 4x. And then we have -2 plus 6, which would give us plus 4. So this is how we simplify this expression. We started with 6 terms and we were left with just 3 terms in our final simplified answer. And the reason why we can't combine these anymore is because they have different variables. So the variable y represents a number, and it may be different from what the variable x stands for. So that's why we can't add these together and say it's like 10xy or something like that. We can't combine those. So this is our simplest form when we're asked to simplify an expression. That would be as simple as it can get. And again, we can only combine like terms, meaning that they have the same variable. So here's an example. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 terms in this expression, and we can only combine like terms. And I'm going to start with putting these variables in order. So we have A, B, and C in this case, and then we have constants. So the way that you would normally write this is start with the first letter, alphabetically. So we have minus 2a, and there aren't any other a's. So when we simplify this, we're going to start with our minus 2a, and then we're going to go to the b variable, the b terms. So minus 4b plus 9b would be plus 5b, right? We're adding the coefficients and keeping the variable. Then we have plus c minus 3c. That's going to leave us with negative 2c. And then lastly, we have our constants. So minus 7 minus 11. That simplifies to minus 18. And this is as simple as this expression can get. We started with 7 terms and we're left with 4 terms. So here are 2 practice problems. Go ahead and try these on your own to simplify by combining like terms. You can put your answers down in the quiz below this video, and then we'll check your answers after that. Okay, so let's go with number 1. Let's identify our like terms. So we have x there, x, and x here. So we can combine these 3 terms together. So minus 3x plus 6x is going to give us positive 3x, and then minus x, or minus 1x. So then we're going to be left with 2x. Then let's go to our next variable, which is y. So we have minus 2y plus 3y, which would give us a positive 1y. So we'll just say plus y. And then lastly, we have plus 3 and minus 7. So 3 minus 7 leaves us with minus 4. And that is our final answer. All right, number 2, we have 2a minus 5a plus 8a. Let's combine those. 2 minus 5 is negative 3, plus 8 is 5. So 5a will be our first term. Then we'll go to the b's. 4b plus 9b. That's 13b. And then that looks like all the variables, so we're just left with constants. So plus 3 minus 8, that's negative 5. And then minus 2 is negative 7, or minus 7. And that is our final simplified answer. And if it's helpful for you, you can find ways to mark each of these terms so you know which ones are like terms. You could circle them or box them, and that way you can easily see which terms go together. So in conclusion, when simplifying expressions, you want to first identify the like terms, and then you're going to combine or add those like terms together. And just remember that you always want to include the sign that appears before the term. So if you see a minus sign in front of a term, you want to include that when you're adding to the other terms. And that's all for today. So you can go ahead and do problem set 94. There's a link to the textbook in the video description here. And if you have any questions about this lesson or the assignment, just comment below. Thanks, and have a good day. We'll see you next time.